Hey, Jamie.
Hi. Are they actually going live, or was it just noise?
Hopefully they're going live. There was noise. So,
I know I heard it too.
yeah, she said the projector is on. So hopefully that's a good little thing. And hello, all. Good evening, all. Well, good afternoon, all. This, it's 3 o'clock, right?
3:19. Yep.
Yeah. So probably opening statement and not much more. Jamie,
Maybe.
what do you say to Iris?
As stupido.
No, she just taught you a new word.
Oh, I forgot it already.
Orale.
Olale.
No,
Olale.
orale. Not
Olale.
olale.
Or
Hey, Caroline.
oral.
What?
Oral. Orally. Is that what it is?
No, false alarm. Oh. No, no, no. And we're back. Hey, Ralphie.
Oh my god.
Howdy, partner. Hey, Ruth. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to pull this off and see if anything... Nothing new. Nothing new. Well, we'll keep looking because there was something going on before. We can go back and see if we can find it. Just to show I'm not hallucinating. Maybe I'm hallucinating.
Yeah, well.
Well,
I heard it too because I had it on.
yeah, but you just called Iris stupid, so I'm not sure I should trust you.
No, you asked me what Spanish word I knew, and I said estupido. Maybe it's just hot mic in it.
So I wasn't lying. Something. Oh, we're live, Jamie. Jamie.
Yay! Look at this guy.
Hey, T-Bone.
Hi, T-Bone.
Shouldn't have asked, should I?
I got a juror in the box, and I can't find anywhere on the juror list.
They're missing a juror.
I'm ready.
Hey, Nurse TT.
Mark and Brittany. He had it maybe uses Joseph Mark or something. I don't know, but I've never had it before.
Hi, guys.
I couldn't find the juror to look on sheets.
Raise that issue before we accepted the panel.
Well, I'm sitting there looking down the list trying to find it.
Well, if there is some egregious problem with him serving as a juror that comes to your attention, we have 2 potential alternates. We will address it, but otherwise, let's get started. All right. We ready to bring him in? Get him lined up.
I did boost audio. I think it's just because they have to get ready. Hey, Lifty, 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 our
Lefty.
favorite Lifty, Lifty, Lifty Lols. He is all the funs. He is a crazy guy, but we like him like he is. Hey, hey, Lifty, our favorite little aubergine. Have fun, T-Bone. Well, if they're missing a juror, he might be mad. You know I get punch drunk when I don't have anything to say.
Oh, that was the best song ever.
Hey, Wolfie.
Hey, Wolfie.
No, don't. Let's just start. It's a new record.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Oh, her lawyer. I love that look.
He's in sandals, Jamie.
Is he really?
Everyone may have a seat.
I'm
We have
trying
a
to
call for the state for the defense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get started trying this case. The first thing that will happen is one of the assistant DAs, either General Ammons or General McDermott, will read the indictment in this case. I want to remind each of you, the indictment is merely the formal written accusation. The fact that this document exists in no way impairs Ms. Howington's presumption of innocence. After the indictment is read, Mr. Whalen on Ms. Howington's behalf will enter a plea or pleas. Thereafter, each side will be recognized to give an opening statement. I'll talk to you just a few more minutes about that here in just a moment. General McDermott, you may read the indictment.
Presentment case number 117659, State of Tennessee versus Robin Rebecca Howington. Sworn July 1st, 2022 by the foreperson of the grand jury. State of Tennessee, County of Knox, Criminal Court for Knox County, Tennessee. The grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 14th day of September 2019, in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully kill D.O. during the perpetration of an aggravated child neglect in violation of TCA 39-13-202 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee. Second count, the grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths further present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 14th day of September 2019, in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did knowingly neglect D.O., a child 8 years of age or less, so that the health and welfare of said D.O. was adversely affected and resulted in serious bodily injury in violation of TCA 39-15-402 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee. Third count, the grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths further present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 15th day of September 2019 in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did knowingly neglect D.O., a child 8 years of age or less, in such a manner with a deadly weapon so that the health and welfare of said D.O. were adversely affected in violation of TCA 39-15-402 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee. Fourth count, the grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 14th day of September 2019 in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully initiate a report to an officer of the Knoxville Police Department concerning an offense within the officer's concern, knowing that the information relating to the offense was false, in violation of TCA 39-16-502 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee. Fifth count, the grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths further present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 14th day of September 2019 in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and knowingly conceal things with the intent to impair the availability of said things as evidence in an investigation, and said Robin Rebecca Howington, knowing that investigation was pending and in progress, in violation of TCA 39-16-503 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee. Sixth and final count, the grand jurors for the State of Tennessee upon their oaths further present that Robin Rebecca Howington, on or about the 14th day of September 2019 in Knox County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and knowingly attempt to alter things with the intent to impair the availability of said things as evidence in an investigation, and said Robin Rebecca Howington, knowing that an investigation was pending and in progress in violation of TCA 39-12-101 and 39-16-503 and against the peace and dignity of the State of Tennessee.
Mr. Whalen, on behalf of Ms. Howington, how does she plead?
Ms. Howington pleads not guilty to each and every count of the indictment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the indictment has been read. A plea of not guilty has been entered as to each of the counts alleged within the indictment.
Do you love
The
this
issues have
accent,
been
Jamie?
going for trial. It is now time
Do I
for
what?
each side to provide to you
You
an
love this
opening
accent?
statement. A couple things about opening statements. I
Who
want you to
does got
listen
that
carefully
good,
what the
like,
lawyers say. They're going to give you an overview of where they believe the evidence will take you over the course of the next several days. But I
like
want to
older
remind you once
gentleman
again, what the
accent?
lawyers say is not evidence. The evidence that you must base your verdict upon in this case must have come from this witness stand or from an exhibit introduced through the various witnesses who will testify. The state has the burden of proof. For that reason, you will always hear first from the state. General Ammons, you are recognized on behalf of the state for your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Southern.
Yeah. He's got like that older gentleman accent.
The 14th, 2019. Destiny Oliver is
Find him,
5
Mike.
years old. Along with her brother Gavin, who's 2 years old, and her mother, Robin Howington. The defendant, in this case, went to a park. They would have played, they would have laughed, just like any kids, just like any family. And they would return home. What was different about this night is that was the last time Destiny Oliver would ever play in the park. That's what this case is about. That 5-year-old little girl, in life, far too
Who's
short.
crying already?
The
One
mother.
person's deceit,
That was loud.
lies, and deception to cover up their crime, the negligence. And the person's the defendant, Rob County. The evidence will show that on that evening, all three of them returned home to 502 Boston Avenue in Knox County. They returned home at approximately 8:42 in the evening. And about a minute later, you'll see all three of them enter the house. So I'll tell you how we know how we're seeing them enter the house. 508 Balsam Drive, the house next door, had a home camera on the front porch. And that camera is situated angling towards 502 Balsam. So at the top of that screen, we can see the 502 Balsam property. And then in the top right corner, you see the front door to 502 Balsam. That's how we know who's coming, going, the times. So if we play this video, we begin at approximately 8:39. You'll see right here is going to be where the defendant's residence is. So the porch lights are not on now. You can see the camera's angled. And we believe this right here to be is a spider web.
Ew. Is that a spider?
It's a spider web.
Well, is there a spider on it? Ew. That's my concern. I'm sorry.
Jamie, I love you, but sometimes
What happened?
they're watching the video.
Oh,
Maybe we dim the lights, please.
Yeah, one back, watch. It's not all of it, just one back. That's good.
Hey, Malcolm, we'll give it a run through when they're done. Pilorowski, don't you change this.
Right there, we have a vehicle arriving outside 502 Balsam, outside the defendant's residence. You'll see the lights are dim there, but not all the way off now.
Hey, little D. So glad you're alive.
See another vehicle approaching 502 Balsam right there.
Hit them squats.
He's going to back up. And that's the defendant, Destiny, and Gavin.
What are we supposed to see?
We saw a car pull up. Mm,
Maybe it's clearer on this screen.
You see the porch light just turn on there. That's 502 Balsam. You see a small individual, which is Destiny, entering the residence right now,
Okay.
followed by the defendant carrying Gavin. Notice the car remains outside with the vehicle lights dimmed once Ms. Howington and Gavin and Destiny go inside 502 Balsam.
At his front door and the neighbor's front door, apparently. Yeah.
It's pointing at their house, the chick's house, right?
Yeah, at her house.
Yeah. So they're supposed to have seen the little girl and her go in the house.
Yeah.
Now we're at 8:44:26.
What happened?
In approximately 1 minute, you will see motion at the door to 502 Balsam.
It's been a minute now. Oh,
Right there.
someone came out.
Movement at the front door, 502 Balsam, 8:46:05. In approximately 15 seconds, you'll see an individual walking from the direction of the vehicle towards 502 Balsam. Right here.
That spider web is really inconveniently placed.
When the individuals
I know.
entering the residence approximately 8:46:43.
Morning.
The individual is going to be inside that house for approximately 63 seconds.
Only fight this mic.
And then we're going to see that same individual walk outside the house calmly to that vehicle.
Well, who was it? Oh, God.
Fedorowski changed this. He said no court cover. I think it's the Spider Ninja who placed it there to cover its tracks. I'm convinced of the Spider Ninja now.
I know. I told you.
The individual is exiting the house now at 8:47:47 and walking towards the vehicle. Now, at this point, the individuals remaining in that residence are Gavin, 2-year-old Gavin, 5-year-old Destiny, and Robin Howington, the defendant. In approximately 10 seconds, you're going to see the defendant exit the house and go towards her vehicle. Right there, you can see her right there.
What?
Do you know for a fact it's her? I mean,
See
you
the
just told
lights.
us.
What?
Right there.
Yeah. But is it who?
It's supposed to be
The
her.
defendant's vehicle then moves up closer towards 508 Boston. And then parks still outside of 502 Boston, her own residence.
Hey, Peter. Yeah, I didn't see people walking. Hey, Kelly. I saw the lights.
Yeah, I didn't see where they said they saw her come out. I saw
No.
the other people.
And now the video stopped.
The defendant will enter the house back again at 8:50:15.
This is the area we should focus on. It's so stupid that I try to move over so I can look behind the spider's web. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the state. Like, tell us a story. We're showing this video.
Yeah, that's why I said to put the red circle on, because maybe people are looking down here and wondering if someone was coming up. There she is.
There, that's
Yeah.
the defendant walking back in the house at approximately 8:50:15.
State opening, yes. I can put it in the back.
Things are about to change. Because at 8:53, Robin Howington calls 911. Destiny's been shot. That's what she says. Destiny's been shot. And a random black guy did it. That's what she says. You're going to hear that 911 call during this trial, and that's what she says. Destiny's been shot. It's a random black guy. Just walked in off the street and popped Destiny. That's what she told 911. But there's more going on during that 911 call than Robin Howington tells 911. And the reason we know that is because of 508 ball song. That camera catches some other things going on. At 8:53, the defendant's going to exit that house and hide that gun under a bush. She's going to hide her gun.
No, it's a ring
The
camera.
gun that
Can't
was
hear
used to
anything.
shoot and kill Destiny under that bush. Right outside the house. All while she's on the call with 911. She's hiding her gun. Well, Destiny bleeding out on the couch. Alone. She is hiding the gun. While her daughter dies alone in that room.
Genitals. Hey.
It's Destiny. And that's what this case is about. You're going to hear the first law enforcement officer that arrived on the scene. Didn't quite know what to expect. Had a shots fired call. They didn't quite know. So he approaches the residence with some caution. He's going to enter that residence and he encounters Miss Howington. Miss Howington sitting on the couch and he sees a foot. She's not holding her daughter. She's on the phone. And he asks, has anyone been hurt? She doesn't say a word. She just turns and points. And that's when Officer Cummings realizes 5-year-old Destiny was shot. He sees the wounds. You hear testimony that he was trained as an EMT. So he understood what was going on. And he scooped all 56 pounds of that little girl up. And he takes off running outside that house. And he's calling for help. You're going to see on that video at trial, you can see Officer Cummings running out of that house with that little girl in his arms. You're also going to hear at trial that law enforcement continue to respond to the scene. Detectives Riddle and Wardlow are going to arrive at the scene. They have a report that a 5-year-old girl has been shot dead in her house. It's a serious crime. You're going to hear that the defendant continued to say it is a random black guy. When she speaks with Detective Riddle at 502 Boston. Destiny is going to be transported across the river to UT Medical Center. She has a gunshot wound in her hand and her chest. We're going to hear testimony from the KPD officer that transports Robin Howington to UT Medical Center. They got Destiny. They got her out of there as quick as they could, and they got her.
No.
Oh, it's from you. I could hear something squeaking. I thought, what the F is going on outside? It was you. Malcolm Wilhelm asked earlier what this case is about. What this case is about. It's about a 5-year-old girl.
Who's the random black guy?
A 5-year-old girl who was unalived by shot to her chest. Her mom has blamed a random black guy, maybe a ninja, the father of the child, and her 2-year-old son.
He's got a 5-year-old girl that's been shot and killed. It's a random black guy. So as law enforcement continues to respond to the scene, they're doing what they do. They process the scene. An officer Preston Tucker is going to take the defendant Robin Howington to UT Matters. But you're going to hear, once she's in the back of that cruiser, her deceptions continue, and her lies are continuing, her deceit is continuing. You're going to hear that she's texting multiple people to come get that gun. Not just the gun, her gun. Go to the side of the house. It's under the by the bush or underneath the air conditioner. Go get my gun. Now she's going to tell her second story. She tells that individual, Gavin shot Destiny. It's changing. It's evolving. You're going to hear, once she arrives at UT Hospital, her deception doesn't just continue, it intensifies. You're going to hear that when she goes there, she goes into the bathroom, and she's going to stand outside the stall of another female who's there. That mother, that she's standing outside the stall, she's there at the hospital because her son been hurt. She's standing outside the stall. And when she gets outside the stall, take my gun, take my gun. Take my gun. She wants to get rid of her phone. Robin Howington wants to get rid of that phone. But this individual won't get to do that for her and notifies the police officers because they're at the hospital.
Kelly, you're new here. The Ninja Spider is from the Letitia Stout trial because all of her crazy stories, we made it into being Ninja Spiders. So that's why whenever they are blaming a random person, it's always the ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
When they get the phone, it's wet. It's been broken. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to destroy everything on that phone. We were able to get those text messages. We know what she was texting. We know what she wanted to cover up. And unfortunately, that 5-year-old little girl that you saw just a couple minutes ago, Destiny, was pronounced dead at UT Hospital. Next, you're going to hear that this is a homicide investigation. This is serious. At this point, Detective Riddle has reported that an unknown black man walked in 502 Boston and pop tested and killed a little 5-year-old girl, just like that. They want to get as much information as they can. They want to interview the defendant. What did you tell them about this? Because they want answers. I mean, a 5-year-old girl has been shot and killed. She's transported to the Knoxville Police Department where you're going to see that Detectives Riddle and Barlow speak. In her initial story with them that night, she initially is going to stick with the random black guy. Just a random black guy walks in off the street and shoots Destiny. That's what she sticks with at first. But it's not holding up. It's not holding up. The story doesn't make any sense. So she switches. She's going to tell another story now. See if this one sticks. Next, she's going to blame the little girl's dad. She says that Destiny's father walked in off the street and shot her.
I believe her dad is
Deception, lies, deceit.
a black guy as well. I think she's mixed.
Well, that's not the end. When that lie doesn't stick, she tells another one. This time she's going to blame 2-year-old little Gavin. 2-year-old little Gavin. This time she says, me and Destiny's father got in a tussle. And then 2-year-old Gavin grabs a bar stool from the living room, little Gavin. Drags bar stool from the living room all the way back into the bedroom. Climbs up it. At least one time when she says he's doing it, he's wearing high heels. Climbs up on top of that stool. Gets into the top of the closet. Gets her gun out. Comes back into the living room and accidentally shoots this.
Is that even possible?
Well, that story doesn't make sense. Because when that little boy's
No.
with her, well, Gavin, even out straight, he's short. Couldn't have gotten up in that top of the closet. He's short.
No one knows.
She even tosses out that evening that maybe
House arrest.
the men from the park followed home, and maybe has something to do with it. But I don't even go anywhere with law enforcement. She is tossing everything she can out there, blaming everybody she can. So law enforcement will talk to her again on September the 17th. She tells more stories. One of the versions of the stories that she's going to tell on that day is that it's just her, Gavin, and Destiny at home. And Gavin just went and got the gun. and came
That's
back.
twist 2 and 3.
Then she's going to tell another story. She's going to say, well, me and Destiny's father, Antoine, were in a tussle, we're fighting over a gun, and it goes off. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up with the evidence. It doesn't add up with the physical evidence. And it certainly doesn't add up with that video. The times don't match. Think about that. Oh, yeah. So, Howington tries to hide the truth with her lies and deception throughout this matter. Lies, deception, deceit. Eventually, those lies wither away because they can't hold up, and the truth surfaces. What is the truth? It's not a gun, it's her gun. It's her gun that's used to shoot and kill Destiny. It's the defendant who hides the gun under a bush outside the house. It's the defendant who texts people and tells them to go get the gun outside the house. It's the defendant who then tries to get rid of those text messages, telling people to go get the gun, her gun that was used to kill Destiny. The evidence will also show that both of them have what's called gunshot residue, meaning they're in close proximity to a gunshot when it's fired or handled a gun. Evidence will also show that Destiny had stippling on her hand. You're going to hear testimony from the medical examiner. That means the gun when it was shot no more than a few feet away.
Roughly half an hour, Aaron.
No more than a few feet away from that 5-year-old little girl when she was shot. The one thing to remember as we sit through this case, you're going to hear testimony, you're going to see exhibits, you're going to see videos. And some of it's not going to be easy to watch, easy to see. One thing to listen to. Throughout all of the defendant's inconsistencies throughout this entire case, there's one consistency. There's one consistency. Not once did she take responsibility for anything. Not one time did she take responsibility for finding Destiny, getting shot, killed. Ladies and gentlemen, that tells you everything you need to know.
Uninspiring
Thank you, Ron.
opening.
Oh my God.
Well,
But
Yeah.
short. Very short.
Judge told you that opening statements are not evidence. I'll tell you one thing you can do. You can hold us to those statements.
Stop it.
If you recall on board iron, they stood up there and said, well, no one's going to try to tell you that Miss Howington intended to shoot her daughter.
Ooh.
That sure sounds like what he was saying at the end. Her gun. She had the gun. All these lies, all these inconsistencies. I want you to pay attention to that stuff.
Because none of these lawyers likes to talk into a microphone, and the judge should really tell them to talk into a microphone. He's standing right in front of the jury. I'll bet you the last row of the jury can't hear whatever he said. Yeah, I'll go back for you, Sean Bird. Well, we had to watch that spider plan the whole thing.
No. When he got up and he's got that little pot belly and that accent. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
They said, well, no one's going to try to tell you that Miss Howington intended to shoot her daughter. That sure sounds like what he was saying at the end. Her gun. She had the gun. All these lies, all these inconsistencies. I want you to pay attention to that stuff. Because we've talked already, and you will hear again, that she was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder for about 18 months, medically treated. And the police go through her purse at the end of the interview and ask her what every one of them's for, and that's what they were. She tells them that she's been raped and she's nervous speaking in a room with two male police officers. There's a female police officer right out in the hallway. They don't offer to bring a female in. The two of them sit there and talk to her, and when she says she's been raped, Mr. Riddle there loses his mind. He jumps up and starts yelling and screaming, "Are you fucking kidding me? That's what you're concerned about? Your daughter's dead." Now, how do you think that helps with PTSD? This is an interview room that we're in. About an hour into it when they're talking to her,
I
they keep telling
I think she was there and her new
She's
boyfriend, not
blamed it on the
their
baby's
father.
daddy. You're gonna hear by the end of this. First person in that interview room who mentions the baby daddy is his partner, Mr. Ward. What about him? He can't be happy that you've got this baby, you're not in a relationship with him, but you got this other boyfriend. And then they start talking about all the kinds of problems they've been through. And they start talking about, yeah, we kind of think this might be a domestic. And then Mr. Wardlaw says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to shoot straight with you. I believe the baby daddy did. I think he's mad because you got another boyfriend now. I think he came in, he just shot that daughter, your daughter. He might have just been trying to scare you. Riddle there says, Mr. Hammer says, I think he's right. He hit it right on the nail. He did it. We've known this was domestic all along. They asked her, do you think he's capable of doing that? It wasn't him, I promise. And they stay on it. It's him, it's him, it's him. And she finally says, all right, you're right. Okay. Okay, you're right. Okay. I can't do this anymore. She didn't lie about him and say he did it. They did. She heard one gunshot. Tells them over and over again. I heard one gunshot. Well, we think she shot more than once. So they're telling her lies that she knows aren't true. She's a woman suffering from PTSD whose daughter has just been shot. They don't allow her to ride in an ambulance with the daughter. They take her to the hospital. She never sees her daughter again because the daughter is getting treatment. Truth of the matter is, and I think they'll probably tell us this, the daughter was probably dead. So they tried to revive her. They had no luck. They got in the hospital. They tried a couple more times. They had no luck. They come out and tell them, I'm sorry, your daughter's dead. She goes straight from that room being told your daughter is dead. They drive her to the KPD interview room at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. She's there for the next 3 or 4 hours being questioned by these guys. For a mother, how is a mother going to be in her right mind talking about So she's not in her right mind, and they're asking her questions, and they're telling her things that aren't true. You know, we think you moved the shell casing. There should be a shell casing in that house. You're gonna hear the shell casing was in the gun and jammed. They found the shell casing. It was there. We think that somebody, we don't know if it even happened there. There should be a bullet there. There's no bullet. It's not in the couch. It's not in her. It was in a cushion on the couch. And they're just telling her stuff because they can't wait. They can't give this grieving mother till the next day to talk. No. We got to do this right now. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have you sit in an interview room with 2 male police officers. And if you mention the fact that a police officer raped you, we're going to yell and scream at you. So
I watched it over on Dave's.
So the woman who is not in her right mind is taken in there and held for 3 to 4 hours being questioned by professional murder investigators, which means it can't be an accident because professional murder investigators are handling it. There is no way, there is no fact, there is no set of facts that's going to allow them to accept that this is an accident. They've taken a family tragedy, a horrible tragedy. She's very upset seeing Gavin up there on the wall. She has not laid eyes on him in 5 years because DCS and the court wouldn't let her until this case was resolved. He disappeared in the night that night. While they've got her, taking her to the hospital, they take out someone to a family neighbor to stay. Her daughter's gone. Her mother's died during this, her dependency of this case. She hadn't seen Gavin since it happened because they have never seen an accident. They have never seen an accident, a tragedy that they can't make worse. Think about that for a moment. She is charged with felony murder. That is first-degree murder. Under state law, that's about the worst charge you can be charged with because of an accidental shooting involving a 2.5-year-old. So you listen carefully. They just stood here and told you. It was about contradiction. She's texting this Joey kid who sometimes painted her house, does some yard work. She's texting him right after it happens and says, "Will you go get that gun? Gavin shot Destiny." Immediately, she tells him, "Gavin shot Destiny." She tells them as they eventually get around to it, she made up the other story to protect Gavin so he wouldn't have to live with this. Once she has done that, she's sticking with that story. Is that the best idea at the moment? Maybe not. But again, she is a grieving mother who cannot be in her right mind. She is suffering from mental illness from this PTSD. She's treated for it. A gun goes off. Her daughter is grievously shot. When they talk to her on 911, they say, "Is she responding?" No. Blood is pouring out of her chest. She's not responding. She still has a 2.5-year-old child running around in the living room, crying and screaming at him. Not in his right mind, probably at that point. And there's a gun on the floor. She takes the gun out, she puts it in the driveway. You saw that photograph of Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. She hid that gun under that bush. When you see the photographs they took that night, you go around that corner, it's pitch black leading up to that bush. Drops the gun on the ground. She wants the gun out of the house. Why is her daughter dead? Because of the gun. That is the enemy of the moment. Get it out of the house. So she takes it out there and drops it. Some of the things that she did, some of the things she said don't make sense. They're irrational. Sort of like what someone might say if they're not in their right mind. I told you I wouldn't ask you to do this, but you're gonna have to at some point ask yourself, if you were in her position, would you be making rational decisions in that moment? Would you be held to the highest charge in the land, being in that condition at that moment? Should you be? Have we got no compassion for a grieving mother in an accidental shooting that destroyed a family? God, let's hope so.
All right, thank you. State has the burden of proof. We will hear the state's evidence first. General, call your first witness.
State calls Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes from the Midnight Rockers. I'm so sorry for your loss. And yes, we can never judge anyone's rational or irrational things they do during a grief period. I agree with you. I never said that. I never said they had to be stressed. And someone asked why the gun was out. Apparently because the kid crawled up and got it out of somewhere. It's going to be very interesting to hear the explanation. She says it's an accident. That's what the defense claims. It's an accident, and the 2-year-old shot her. I think is what they're going with. So yeah, it doesn't make any. It doesn't make much sense. Yeah, the charge is first degree, but it's the defense who claims accident. It's not the state. And just she could have gotten the DP in Tennessee, but I haven't heard them talk about it being a DP case. And hi, Mass. Long time no see. I do hope it's Michael Hayes.
Swear or affirm the testimony about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, Your Honor. Have a seat.
Can you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Michael Allen Mays.
And can you spell your first and last name for our court report?
It's Michaelmays.
Mr. Hayes, where are you currently employed?
I work for the Knox County Emergency Communications District 911.
All right. And can you tell the jury a little bit about what your role is with 911?
I'm the custodian of records. I keep all the audio files and all the computer files that we have that come into the system.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury a little bit when someone makes a 911 call, is that call recorded in some way?
Yes. As soon as it comes into the 911 center, whether it's on emergency or the 911, it is recorded. That information.
And he's just
taken by
as
a
the
call
custodian of
processor
the record to
who takes
make
the
sure
information from the
that
caller and then sends it over to dispatch to be dispatched.
there's a line of.
And then that phone call that is made, is a recording also made
I can't
of that
figure
phone
this
call
out.
as it's being made?
Yes.
Just to
And
make
is
sure that they
phone
can
call
prove
that's made, is that
it's
preserved
made at
in
that
some
time.
way by the 911 center?
Yes, it is.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about that?
We have servers through our
Record of
system
custody.
that we maintain the recorder through. And so we
Yes.
held those recordings for a little over 4 years.
For a little over 4 years?
Yes.
All right. So are you familiar with a 911 call that was placed on September 14th of 2019 that's pertinent to the case before this court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have an opportunity to review the CD that I have right here?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury, do you recognize this CD?
Yes, that's the CD. I marked it that I went over it and reviewed it today,
Okay.
that is from our system.
And so is that going to be the CD of the 911 call that's made from Balsam Drive on September 14th? 13th of 2019.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if we could move this in as the first exhibit and
Have
post
you
it to
marked
the
in
jury.
files number one? Are you introducing the CAD or just the CD? All right, let the CD be number one.
All the hatred.
Okay.
As I understood it, the boyfriend and Robin was at the house. Apparently, the dad had been there earlier in the day, but I'm not sure. That's what I read in the newspaper. The article I read earlier in the day. Jamie, stop getting messages.
I don't know what is going on.
No, he just said she hadn't seen her son in 5 years. Well, much obliged, Aaron.
Oh my God.
That's a sudden accent.
Yeah, it sure was.
It was as sudden as grits.
Mr. Mason, when a 911 recording is preserved, is there a tag or something that indicates the time the call was made or anything like that that happens on the CD as part of your record?
Yes.
Judge, for what it's worth, we're not contesting the authenticity of 911 call.
But you're not introducing the CAD.
I'm not at this point.
Okay, go ahead.
And so is there a little bit of information that starts before you can hear the call?
Yes, it's the timestamp of the call.
Okay. And so in this particular case, was there a timestamp?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I'm going to play it and if you can explain to the jury when you hear this, what the timestamp is.
Open on Saturday, September 14, 2019 at 8:53 p.m. with a GMT offset of negative 240 minutes. Agent ID is extension is 202.
If you explain to the jury what that means.
Okay, that's the time and the date that the call came in to the 911 center. The actual phone call came into the 911 center.
Oh, they just had the gain really high.
Yes.
Would that be an accurate time as to when this phone call was made?
Yes.
On Saturday, September 14, 2019.
Is this a transcript of the call?
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, a transcript is being passed out to aid you as you listen to this 911 call. The transcript is merely an aid. The evidence is the call that you actually hear. So if there is a discrepancy between the transcript and what you hear on this recording, the recording controls. Everybody understand that?
Your Honor, for the record, can we make the
Mark the transcript for ID only is number 2.
No, them Yanks are just jealous I have this sweet accent down.
You can have it. I don't know what it is, but you can have it.
At 8:53 p.m. with a GMT offset of negative 240 minutes. Agent ID is extension is 202.
Kim, you missed the opening statement from the state was really slow. We just watched a camera not showing anything. And then her 3 lies she told. Defense, he was a bit more fiery and said it was an accident. And the first witness is just a custodian of the 911 call. We're about to hear that now. Come on.
I got an emergency. This dude was just at my house and my fucking daughter just got shot, man. Please hurry. I'm just off and drive.
What, she just had something right now?
Yes.
Who did it? The guy that's walking to your door?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name, man?
Robin.
Robin, okay, where's your daughter at, man?
She's on the couch.
Where did you shoot her at? Okay. We're on our way. I've already sent it to Robin. We're on our way now. She's laying on the couch.
Oh my God, what do I need to do?
We're coming, Miss Robin. Let you speak with the ambulance, sir. The guy who did this, his white blood first name.
He's black.
Okay. wearing?
He got a white shirt on.
Okay. Did he say anything when you guys opened the door?
No.
Okay. You just
My
opened it?
baby just like in your door. Oh my God, please come back. Please come
We're on our way, Mr. Robin. Let me speak to the ambulance so they can take you to the try to get some help. I want minute for it.
back. Oh my God, yes.
She's in the car, Mr. Robin.
He was in the car, he was in a black car, started to open up the doors. Hey, Martina, the address to the emergency. Doctor, you're Boston Dog.
Okay, telephone number 951-8096.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I already have an ambulance on the way there. Tell me exactly what's going on.
I had a man that just came to the fucking door, man, and he fucking, I don't know what the hell happened. The door was unlocked, and he came in here, and he fucking shot my daughter, dude, and she's laying here, and she's not fucking breathing, dude, please come.
She's not breathing.
No.
Okay, do you want to try to CPR?
Please just turn her, just to turn the light and everything. She is breathing, she is breathing.
She is breathing?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, how old is she?
She's 5.
How old?
5.
5?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I've got help on the way. They've been on the way since your very first call, okay? Is that somebody you're crying?
No, that's my son.
That's your son? Okay,
Yes.
okay. I need her coming to you as fast as they can, I promise. Okay, you said she is breathing. Is she able to speak to you at all? Is she conscious at all?
No. No. Destiny. Destiny. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit.
Okay, and you have no idea who it was that shot her?
No, I just know. My book was right.
Okay,
They're here.
all right.
They're here now. They're here now.
Okay, all right, go talk to them.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Apparently, she was a drug addict at the time. So maybe.
But well, they didn't say anything in opening statements. Like they didn't say there was like
No,
she was
no,
gonna
no,
do
no.
it because, you know,
No motive was listed. No motive.
yeah.
Uh,
That's what I'm
I've
having a
only
hard
seen she
time.
had 5 charges against her.
Explain to the jury what a CAD
Mhm.
is.
That's the name of our computer system. It stands for Computer Aided Dispatch.
Okay, and tell the jury what is the purpose of a computer animated dispatch?
The computer basically takes the call of service and the information that we put into it, sends it to the agencies that are going to be responding. In this case, it was law enforcement, medical, ambulance, and fire for first responder. They all get the information that's put into it by all the agencies that enter information into it.
Mr.
And
Mays
then we
from
can at any
911.
time export that.
And so when an officer is out on patrol, some of them have computers in their car, is that correct?
Yes.
And so as somebody is relaying information to 911, is 911 also in contact with getting that information into the computers?
Yes, we send it to their computer, and we also do a verbal announcement.
So let me ask you, do you recognize this document?
Yeah, this is the CAD of the incident in question.
And if we could make this exhibit 2 or exhibit 3?
You mind?
Okay, and so just so that it's clear for the jury when they get this document, up at the top, it's got an event date and an event time. Is that indicative of the date and time of the call that we just heard?
Yes, that's the time that the call processor started entering the stuff into the CAD.
Okay, and it's got a caller name as Robin. Is that information that the 911 caller would have received from the caller?
Yes,
Okay, and then it has the address there as well. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, and then there is a part that says remarks with a bunch of information under that. Is that correct?
Yes,
And would that be just what the operator is typing into the system as she's hearing the 911 call?
yes. Anytime a call processor or dispatcher enters information, it is put in there in the remarks.
Okay. And And then whenever you get a little bit further down, it looks like, is this a different call that came in that day?
You're talking about right here.
I'm talking about this stuff right here.
Yes, that is a duplicate call.
That's a different call that's happening.
Yes.
Okay. If we could publish this to the jury, Your Honor.
Just briefly, you don't have that CAD report up there in front of you, do you?
No.
That the time on there, if I tell you it was 20:53:54,
Yes.
does that sound right to you?
Yes. That did sound right. Yes.
Didn't expect to see you today. I think you'd be here, but I understand you're traveling. Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Any further?
What?
You may step down, Mr. Mays. Thank you for being here. Call your next witness.
I didn't expect to see you here today. Have a good trip. Okay.
Okay.
Shouldn't they just be standing at the lectern and talking into the microphone?
I don't know.
Yeah, and that way she's standing, leaning over on the desk next to him. It's a weird way to
That was weird.
talk to a witness. She looks like a lady I used to be in politics with.
solemnly swear or affirm testimony that can be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat, please. Adjust the microphone if you need to so that you can speak directly into it.
Good afternoon, officer. Could you state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Officer Andrell Cummings, Andrell Cummings, Cummings.
And where are you employed currently?
With Knoxville Police Department.
How long have you been employed there?
I was 7 years last month.
And what's your position at the Knoxville Police Department?
Right now, I'm assigned to West Alpha Patrol.
Okay. What does patrol do?
Patrol mainly answers calls for service. We do answer car wrecks, anything. Anytime somebody calls 911 and the officer is needed out,
Not because of the lean.
Patrol would come out, and then we would deem if anybody else needs to come out, any special teams, search and rescue, detectives, or anything like that.
Prior to being an officer of the Knoxville Police Department, where were you employed?
I was employed with the Rural Metro Fire Department for about 12 years.
Can you walk me through some of the training you received to be a rural metro fire department?
I don't know exactly how long our fire training was, but we say somewhere between 5 and 6 months. And then
2019.
I got my EMT IV license through the state of Tennessee.
So you are trained in, excuse me, attending to people who have been injured?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rural Metro, they took, I always tell everybody there's different type of calls, priority ones, priority twos, and priority threes. Rural Metro Fire, the services Knox County, we took everything. So if you were having trouble breathing or somebody was seriously injured in a car wreck, we would come. And then also if, lack of a better term, if, grandma or grandpa fell on the floor, then we would be there for a lift assist.
Mr. Cummings, can you speak up, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, sir.
I don't know what her drug habit was. We just read an article earlier stating that she tried to destroy her phone because it has had evidence of drug sale on it.
Sorry about that.
I want to direct your attention to September the 14th, 2019.
No, it's
Did you have
from
a
the
patient
articles I've
respond
read.
to a 502 Balsam?
Yes, sir, I did.
And is that in Knox County?
It's Knoxville, Knox County. Yes, sir.
Tell me about that call.
Again, at the time, I was assigned to routine patrol in the North Knoxville area. We got a call I was dispatched to a call of shots fired into a residence. I wasn't there. I wasn't really that far away. I would think I was on Broadway, just north of Cedar Avenue.
How long did it take you to get to that address?
If I had to guess, I don't know off time, I'd probably say a minute to maybe 2.5 minutes, maybe less. I'm
When
not
you
really too sure.
arrive on scene, describe the jury what it was like.
So pulled up on scene. I arrived very slowly to make sure, again, to see what I'm walking into. Again, shots fired. Didn't know if suspect was still on scene or anything like that. So arrived, pulled up slowly to the house, tried to get a good survey of the scene, see if I saw anybody, any suspects, any cars fleeing, somebody running, or anything. Initially, what I saw was a young male, young child, I should say, at the screen door of the home, and his hands were placed up against the glass, and he was just kind of smiling, looking at the lights. So, of course, I had my gun drawn, and I'm just trying to, again, protect myself, protect anybody else, because, again, I don't know what I'm walking into. So I get to the door, and I remember walking to the door. The young man took off into the home, started crying, and I see a young lady sitting on the couch inside the home. Would you like me to describe the home from what I remember?
If you could.
So when you open the door, it was, I'm gonna call it maybe like a living room. I'll call it living room number one. Very wide open space, saw a couch, TV. And then as you walked in a little bit further, there was, I think I remember that, a arch over walk through area, and it kind of went to what I call living room number two. And in that living room number two is where I saw a young lady who we found to be my complainant, or our complainant, sitting. No problem. I saw a young lady who we found later to be our complainant sitting on the couch, and later noticed that it seemed that she was on her phone, or had her phone up to her ear. And I walked in. I think I maybe just kind of cracked the door, and I said, "Did you call 911?" And she was like, "Yeah," kind of waved me in. And kind of walked in. I go, "Is anybody hurt?" And she just kind of points to behind her. And that's when I saw
Probably not nice, not easy to look at when an
I saw
officer
a foot
acts like this.
Of a young child just over the armrest of the couch. And at that point, I just holstered up, grabbed her, and ran outside. And as I'm walking outside, I am assessing her for injuries. I noticed a defect to her hand. I can't remember if I saw a defect to her arm, or I say a better choice of words is a hand wound or an arm wound. I know I saw a hand wound, and I can't remember if she had on a dress or a shirt, but I remember looking up under her shirt or whatever she had on, and I saw a chest wound. So at that time, I immediately got on the radio and told them and said, "Hey, we have a victim, and you just go ahead and send everybody in." With that type of a call, KFD, or Knoxville Fire Department, is automatically dispatched along with EMS or AMR, Rural Metro. I don't know. I went to the back of my car.
Yes.
Just kind of, again, assessed her again. checked her all over so I can give a good report to the EMS crew EMS and fire crew that was arriving.
Second witness, first witness was the 911 caretaker of records. This was the officer who arrived at the scene and called ambulance.
And Officer Cummings, do you recognize that picture right there?
I do, sir.
Can you tell the jury what that is?
That would be the I don't know the correct address, but that would be the house that I responded to that night.
Okay. And do you recognize this?
From that angle, it looks like it could be the couch that I saw our complainant sitting on, but I'm not really too sure because I'd have to.
Pew pew
I
to the
don't
chest.
remember going that far into the house and seeing it, but I think that is the couch.
Okay. Tell us about Miss Howington's demeanor when you encountered her.
One of the things I'll always remember that sticks with me is just how quiet it was. I've run thousands of calls with Rural Metro as an EMT and as a police officer here with Knoxville. I've seen some things and I've done some things. And I've run calls where everyday people who just witnessed something who are hysterical, rightfully so, I understand. But this particular scene, or upon my arrival, it was just very quiet. I didn't have anybody yelling. I didn't hear anybody screaming. I didn't have anybody, trying to grab me and, yank me in and point me out. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. This is what's hurt. It was just very, very quiet. Sometimes we joke and laugh and we say we always have a Richard Simmons on scene because there's always somebody doing the jumping jacks when you arrive somewhere. There was just nobody there. It was just so quiet is what really got me. And like I said, Miss Town was just kind of sitting there on the phone. And I remember asking her, I said, hey, do you need somebody? Is there somebody we can call for you? And she was like, no, they're on the phone. They're on the way. They're just a little bit lost. And I said, oh, do you want me to ask? You want me to give them direction? She was like, no, they'll be fine. And that was just it was just very calm demeanor.
No, we shouldn't judge her and her reaction, but was her boyfriend there? No, it wasn't her dealer. She was on the phone with EMTs. What's going on? Why is it quiet?
I don't know.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as number 4. Tell me if you recognize that individual.
I do.
Who is that individual?
This is a victim from that night. I don't know her last name, but I know her name was Destiny. But this is Destiny.
And that's the girl you encountered that evening?
Yes, sir.
You know how these marked in her
Well,
That'd be marked and filed as number 4.
It'd be interesting if he has a body cam on.
After you leave the house with Destiny, what do you do?
I went to the, like I said, I immediately got on a radio call for KFD and AMR, telling them that the scene was okay for them to enter. I put her on the back of my trunk, or the back of my car, back of my cruiser, and like I said, I'm just trying to assess her for injuries. So I can give a good report. Also, I'm checking for, again, what's called ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. I did not feel a pulse. She was not breathing. And so
This is hard testimony, but I think I'm losing it.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You are.
I apologize. Like I said, I assessed her again so I can give a good report to the EMS personnel that was arriving on scene. And like I said, I checked for ABCs, airway, breathing, and circulation. She did not have a heartbeat, and she was not breathing at the time. I never touched it. I promise you, Your Honor, I never touched it. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Much better.
Sorry about that. I did. Don't tell my mom.
What?
So
Did,
We're having some joke up there.
yeah, it's really weird. He was just crying, and now don't tell my mom.
What do you do next?
If I remember correctly, kind of passed off some information to my supervisors and other officers who are remaining on scene. And we formulated a plan that we're going to go down, head, I think it would have been westbound on the road, and to see if we could locate any type of security camera footage. Would it be cameras on the home or any type of Ring doorbell cameras?
Were you able to find any?
We did locate. I remember 3. Two of the residents said that their ring doorbell cameras weren't working, but the next door neighbor's camera, he had a security camera over his door that faced the residents.
And did you, excuse me, did you review that footage?
We did. He was able to pull that footage up, and watching that footage, we saw, and I'm going to speak from the standpoint of as if the house is behind me. Looking at that footage, and again, the camera footage is coming. If the house is behind me, the camera is to the left of the residence. So at one point, we saw a car.
I don't know what the joke was, but he just mentioned I try to don't tell my mama. So
pull in and basically park parallel to the road, almost, if you want to say, in the yard of that residence, with its back towards the camera. And then another vehicle pulled in parallel to the road, almost facing in front of the residence on the opposite side. So we're basically parked like this. Again, if my back's to the house, the two cars are parked like this. This car came in first. This car came in second. And it looked as if two individuals and like two kids went into the house. I'm not too sure how much time passes, but then you see an individual come out and get in vehicle number 1 and leave. I say a few seconds or so. I can't be sure of the exact time. A few seconds or so after that, you see somebody come out of the house, hop into vehicle number 2, move vehicle number 2, and put it in the spot where vehicle number 1 was parked. And then that person gets out of the car and goes back in the house. Sometime after that, again, I don't know exact time. I don't think it was very long. Somebody comes out of the house, and you can see that they came to, which again, the house is behind me. They come to the left side of the house, kind of like in the yard area. And then they go back in the house. And then sometime after that is when the 911 call was made.
also the boyfriend thought that.
Did you have an occasion to go look on the side of that house that night?
We did. So a couple of us got together and decided to go search that, again, we'll say the left side of that, the house in that yard. And there on that side, under a bush, we found a firearm.
Back in 2019, can you explain to me your setup in terms of whether or not you were having in-cruiser cameras or body cameras or both?
I know at that time I had not been issued a. I did not have a body cam. I don't know if we were transitioning, trying to get body cams, or if we were trying them out or not. But at that time, all I had was an in-car camera and what we call a belt mic. So you can hear what I'm saying, but you can't see exactly what's going on or what I'm talking, or you can't see what's going on with me or who I'm talking to or anything like that. But you can hear me talk as long as I am, we say, in line with the vehicle.
Was your cruiser video system operating that evening?
Yes, sir.
Have you had an opportunity to review that footage?
I have.
Does it fairly and accurately reflect that evening?
Yes, sir.
Contesting the authenticity of that.
All right, thank you.
We'd like to move in to clips from the cruiser camera and publish those to the jury. It is, Your Honor.
The birds in your yard is louder than the courtroom.
Really? I can barely
Yeah.
hear
Lisa,
them.
5. Okay, number 5.
My nature sounds always take over the streams.
I miss birds.
They're having a party out there.
Officer Cummings, what are we looking at here?
I believe this is my in-car camera from that night. You're looking at, I believe it's going to be Balsam Drive, and I'm facing what would be westbound.
What did she say on that?
I believe we were trying to get a suspect vehicle description, and she's told us it was a black Chrysler 300, dark tinted windows.
Man, is this your car? Okay, all right. Did you, I mean, just one? Okay.
Again, are we still sitting in front of 502 or Balsam right there?
Yes, sir.
And what does she say on that video?
There, I was trying to ascertain how many shots that she may have heard that night. She tells me she only heard one shot.
And who is the female's voice we hear on that recording?
That would be Miss. She identified herself as Robin Howington that night, the mother of the victim.
You see Robin Howington in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you point around and describe what she's wearing?
She's sitting at the defense table. I'm gonna say black jacket, pink top.
Your Honor, may the record reflect she's identified, or he's identified.
Good job.
That's the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Officer Cummings.
Afternoon, sir.
You okay up there?
I'm doing okay. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. Let me ask you this. Before arriving at that house sometime around 8:56, I think, on the 14th of September, 2019, how much did you know about Robin Howington?
I think I had one prior interactions with her. I do believe, if I'm correct, I believe it was one prior interaction.
And Did you know that she was under doctor's care for PTSD?
No, sir. That would there was never an interaction I had with her.
If you followed the one with my merch and my paintings in it, that's me.
Heard that I would
Oh, Baker's got an Instagram.
I got an Instagram for my channel.
So cute.
You described that when you got
You
there,
don't follow me.
she was very quiet.
I don't have an
Correct.
Instagram.
Would it
No,
surprise
you have
to
an
know
OnlyFans
that's
only.
something that folks who suffer
I have,
from
like, no social
PTSD
media.
seek, the quiet.
I would have to take your word for it. I'm not. I really don't know,
But all you're saying is that you said you made thousands of calls, right?
correct.
And sometimes people are hysterical
Correct.
and sometimes people are not.
That is correct.
And she fell in the spectrum of hysterical or not.
Are you asking me which
Yeah.
one she fell? She fell into the spectrum of not.
And that's, in your experience, not out of the ordinary to find that some people are not hysterical.
Is it out of the ordinary? Have I had people who are hysterical and people who are not hysterical? Absolutely. If you're asking what I think that is, I won't say common. For me, I would say it's more abnormal.
Of course, you'd have to know something about that individual, wouldn't you? Like that she had PTSD. That might
I
make a
would.
difference.
I guess so. Yeah, I would say that probably add to it. Or give you more insight.
And I think I could say I would thank you on behalf of myself and Ms. Howington. I think you pulled a football out of your car and a stuffed animal and gave those to Gavin when you took him next door to the neighbor's house, right?
I did.
And when you were just talking with Mr. Ammons a moment ago, he asked you about what she said on that video. I think they're just loading up Destiny the ambulance, and someone says to her, she's okay, let them do their job, right?
I don't know what I did hear somebody say, just let them do their job. That I think he said that's what they're trained to do. I have no clue if they're loading her up at that time or not. I can't really be sure.
And what she said next was, what about him, Gavin, right?
I heard her say, "What about him?" But I don't know if I don't know who she was referring to, whether it be Gavin or a suspect or anything.
Well, the suspect wasn't there, right? What was it?
I did not see a suspect at the time. No,
Gavin was there.
Gavin was there. That's correct.
And let me ask you if I got this right. You were asked about the video. You're talking about the video from the house immediately.
You don't have to just watch this video. This is the first with real evidence in it. The rest is just me talking about it. So, but thank you for coming back, Fubar.
Immediately to the right of Miss Howington's house, right? If you're looking at the house.
If you're looking at the house, yes, it'd be the house to the right.
The one, and you've seen that video.
Yes, sir.
With that stinking spider web that keeps bouncing around in front of the counter and the porch, right? Remember that?
I don't remember a spider web.
It's there.
You say that when you see the car pull up and you see two adults and two children go into the house.
I said it appeared to me like two adults and two children do go into the home. Yes.
And if I tell you that's probably just a little wrong, would that surprise you?
Yes, it would surprise me.
It would surprise you that there were not two adults and two kids coming in out of the car.
I'd be very surprised by that.
And how many times have you watched that video since September 14th of 2019?
I couldn't tell you.
When was the last time you looked at it?
I could not tell you exactly when.
Not in preparation for trial, you didn't look at it?
No, that was. I would pretty much say that that night's pretty etched in my mind.
Etched in your mind.
Correct.
But
Okay,
you
well-
would agree that it's possible for you to make mistakes, right?
Anything's possible. Yes.
2019,
5
yes.
years later,
5 years isn't that long.
easier to make a mistake about what you saw in a very short video on a dark night from a ring camera.
I would say on a night to where I carry a lifeless 5-year-old,
Oh, don't start this.
it's pretty hard to not remember a lot of things.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to go back to when you first get there, you say you walk in and you're in a first living room.
That's what I call it.
And then there's another living room, another room with a couple of couches. The first one's got a couple of couches.
I believe so, yes.
And you walk back there and you see Miss Howington sitting with Destiny.
Correct.
And you see Destiny's condition and you pick her up and head out the door.
That is correct.
And you said you checked the ABCs and she had no heartbeat and no breathing.
That is correct.
And as another old emergency medical guy, can't stay alive if you got no heartbeat and no breathing.
That is correct.
Probably not alive if you got no heartbeat and no breathing.
I believe they would consider you clinically dead.
There was nothing else she could do for her daughter at that moment, was there? Nothing you could do.
Are you asking me, is there anything I could do or what?
Well, let's break it down. Bad question. I'm sorry.
No problem.
There's certainly nothing she could have done at that point with a child with no heartbeat and no breathing.
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
What would you have had her do with that child with no heartbeat and no breathing?
At least CPR.
Do you know if she ever had any training in CPR?
I have no idea.
Do you know?
That's weird.
You had lots of training in CPR, right?
I have, sir.
I had to. You
Why?
can hurt somebody with CPR, can't you? If you don't know.
That he says, I
This is
wanted
true,
her to
yes,
do something, a certain thing.
And
How? Do you know?
if you don't do it right,
Again, we don't know her state of mind.
This is true, correct.
Have you ever seen an accident? And I once had a course in well, if you need to take care of dangerous cargo and stuff like that, you have to take a special exam. Driving home from that, one of my classmates passed me on a road, and when I came up further up, he had run off the road and was laying there, and I jumped out and went over and pulled him out of the car and tried to flag people down because I didn't have my phone with me, and no one stopped. And then the person from the house came home and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" Said he had an accident and he's fucked up. I need an ambulance. Yeah, that's fine. Just walked inside. And I was like, what the F? 5 minutes later, she came out again and said, "Oh, you're still here?" I said, "Yeah, did you call an ambulance?" "Why?" I said, "I told you, could you please call an ambulance? He's hurt. He had hit his head, so he was bleeding and everything." I said, "I don't have a mobile phone. Could you please call an ambulance?" "Yeah, sure. Why didn't you tell me?" She absolutely went into shock because there was blood all over the place. And that's what happens. So we can't judge everyone to have the same exact, because all of us, 68 people here right now, would of course have the perfect reaction to this accident or murder, whatever it is. But again, some people react differently. That's one of the biggest thing you learn in CPR classes is make sure you have an eye on all the witnesses, because some of them can get trauma and go home and you won't see it until maybe hours later that they have trauma. Yeah, because you just you go into a happy place because you're traumatized. We don't know, no evidence of that so far. You hopefully won't do that, because then it'll just make more of the red stuff come out of you. Welcome back, Jamie.
Sorry. Got a phone
One
call.
person holds pressure and the other can do, if blood is come out during the compression, that there's anything you can do. No. Yeah, but again, you should at least try. This is a drug addict who might be high at the time, never seen anything like this before. Let's say her story is correct. Her 2-year-old just pew-pewed her 5-year-old. Will you be rational at that time?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard,
No.
Especially a trained police officer who have seen stuff. I know my dad was an EMT. Kids always stick with you. He can remember that day till the rest of his life. But he had been in situations with that before. He had seen that amount of blood before. They're trained to act when other people are trained to not react or won't react. It's the same. They run towards the gunshots. You run away from the gunshots. So it's hard to sit and say she's acting the wrong way. She might be the biggest bee in the world and just did it and sat down on the couch and called someone. I don't know, but it's really weird to say. I expected her to do CPR. And hey, Snuggle Nuggy.
Nice, Nuggy. I don't know how to do CPR, so I wouldn't even know how to do anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and
I should learn. That's terrible.
Yeah, and as a firefighter, if you have seen people who can stand right next to a fire and not know it's there because they just go into shock. We don't know, but let's see the evidence.
Like I said, I assessed her for injuries. Make sure that I can give a clear and accurate report to what I saw and what I observed. And like I said,
we haven't seen it yet.
To observe her.
No, we saw it. It was
check her for injuries.
It was a semi.
EMS was already on scene, and I passed her off.
You didn't do any CPR on her anyway?
No, sir, because again, like I said, at the time, I wasn't. By the time I realized that she was lifeless, EMS was already on scene, and I passed her off.
And at that point, how long do you think you'd been on the scene?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you an exact time.
A couple of minutes.
Again, I couldn't give you an exact time.
You arrived a couple of minutes after she made the 911 call. You said a minute to 2.5.
I believe so, yes, sir.
In Denmark, you can't get a driver's license without doing CPR training.
No, you don't think so.
I learned, but I never had to use it, and I
never asked.
I don't know. It's been years.
If I tell you she's not,
yeah.
Would that surprise you?
No.
We shouldn't have it when I
got
my driver's license.
No. Again, like I said, that was.
But that was back in the horse and puppy age.
With Ms. Howington, that was never something I needed to ask her.
My problem is the lies to the 911 as well.
Everybody
Yes.
you run into is a trained EMT either.
That's true.
Yeah, I never had to use it, Sean. Thank God. It'd be a mess.
You may step down, Officer Cummings. Thank you. Your next witness.
We were actually told that it was a good thing that we smoked it in the military, because it's really good to take the plastic off the cigarette pack and use it as because when you have a chest wound, you need to block the air from coming out. And said it was really good to use those the cellophane from the cigarettes.
Raise your right hand, please, and be sworn.
Interesting.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give to be the truth, the whole truth.
Probably not do that today.
You got it. Have a seat, please. Adjust the microphone so that you can speak comfortably into it.
Oh, that yellow
Please spell
tie.
your name, please.
Preston Tucker, Preston. My last name is Tucker.
Where are you employed?
The Tennessee Highway Patrol,
And prior to that, where were you employed?
the City of Knoxville Police Department.
What'd you
Can
do
he
for
scoot up?
KPD?
I was a patrol officer, and I worked primarily in the North Knoxville area.
What do you do on patrol?
You answer calls for service from citizens via a wide variety of issues, civil disturbances, traffic crashes, or more felonious incidents such as shootings.
Were you so employed on September the 14th?
Yeah, and it
2019?
cauterized
I
the
was.
fist too, right?
Did you have an occasion to respond to a call to a 502 Balsam?
I did.
Is that in Knox County?
Yes, it is.
We were told to just
Can you
put
tell
it
me
on the room.
about how you came to respond to that address?
We received a call for service regarding a shooting. I believe it was a shooting with a victim. And when you receive a call like that, typically every available unit will go to try to render aid and secure the crime scene.
Can you tell me about your involvement that evening with this crime scene?
I was nowhere near being
I know all the big words.
first unit there. However, when I responded, my main objective was to create a crime scene log. I was quickly relieved of that duty by a supervisor and instructed to take the defendant to the hospital to speak with the doctor regarding the injuries of her, of her daughter, the victim.
So you transported her from the scene to UT Medical Center?
Correct.
And tell me about, in 2019, were you equipped with an in-cruiser camera or body camera or both?
Considered to today's time, the technology then was very archaic. The cruiser was equipped with a front-facing dash camera, and the audio for that front-facing dash camera was through a microphone attached to our belt. The rear passenger area / cage where you put a prisoner or a passenger had a microphone only to record audio.
So once you transported the defendant to UT Medical Center, or do you see that individual in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you point around and describe what she's wearing?
She's seated at the defendant's table wearing a black jacket and a pink colored shirt.
Okay. You already made the record before.
Sure.
So why do you transport someone like that in the back of your career?
Yeah, I don't like
the hospital.
the chewing of
I'm sorry,
gum.
asking why we
It'd
would
be a
why would you do that?
nervous tick, but I just don't like it.
as like opposed to the front seat.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it's just out of
Actually, when I do layman duty, we are not allowed as laymen to chew gum, and I have seen defendants being told to go spit it out because it's just not proper for that setting.
convenience. We normally have quite a bit of equipment in our front seat. It's just easy to, as opposed to having to clear out the front seat, it's more efficient and quick to just put them in the back.
Okay. So you transport Ms. Howington to UT Medical Center.
Yes, sir.
What happens next?
On the way there, I'm sorry, like once we arrive at the hospital,
Once you arrive at the hospital.
we enter the hospital. I remember at the time Investigator Wardlaw was there. I think he spoke to the defendant, but mainly we were just waiting for the doctor to come into the ER waiting room area to receive an update.
Did you receive any information from a citizen about Ms. Howington's behavior in the bathroom?
I did.
Can you tell me what that was?
As I was waiting for the doctor to come into the emergency room waiting area, I was alerted.
We can just put the speed up to catch up. Now just at the sidebar. It used to be the ABC airways breathing and circulation. Now it's CAB circulation airways breathing. The AHA changed it a few years ago. I haven't done any CPR training since I was in the military. I'm not even sure I could find where the heart is in the body anymore. The only thing I know is you don't use your thumb when you check for a pulse.
I had to learn back in like 2005. That was the last time I did anything with it.
I talked my way into passing because I made them so annoyed at me. So I just got, you have the gold, silver, and bronze emblem you can sew on your uniform. And I might have been acting a little bit of a fool because they always taught us about it was so important that we didn't go into shock, so we had to keep the core temperature high. So every time they gave us a scenario, you come to this, there's a guy who's been electrocuted. What do you do? Well, I make sure that there's no live wire, and then I pack him into his to my foil blanket. And they said, "You don't have that." I said,
issue
"I
that I need to
always
take up
carry
in your
that because
absence.
I'm taught
I don't think
CPR."
that will take us very
Mm-hmm.
long, but given the fact that it's 5 o'clock, the lawyers have graciously agreed to quit working you for today. We're not going to finish this case up today. All of you know that. It's going to take us several days to try it. We've had a long day of jury selection, so we're going to break for the evening. I need to give you a few instructions before we break, though. As I told you earlier, this is not a sequestered jury, so you're on the honor system. Do not attempt to learn anything at all about this case from any independent source, including but not limited to the internet. You have seen television cameras around. You have seen reporters around. There will be media reports about this
Schoenberg,
case tonight.
I said I'll
You're
give you a
instructed
second
and ordered
chance.
that you cannot read those media reports. So if you go on to wherever you get your local news, be it the local news station, Knox News, wherever you get it, you click on that news source and there's something about this case, click away, turn the channel, don't watch it. Do not attempt to read anything at all about this if you get the News Sentinel tomorrow, although I think it would be somewhat of a miracle if there was something about this case in the News Sentinel tomorrow. But don't read anything at all about the case. Don't attempt to learn anything at all about the case. If anyone attempts to speak with you about this case, give them the benefit of the doubt. Say, I am a juror. I cannot speak with you about this case. If they persist, you let one of my bailiffs know and I will deal with that person. Finally, you are forbidden to speak to anyone at all about the case. For at least half of you, that means your significant other tonight is going to ask you, where have you been all day? What's that case that you're spending all day on all week on downtown at the city county building?
She's been on
Take me to
house
that,
arrest,
okay?
Rolling.
Tell them that the judge said, I can't talk about it because you can't. And here's the reason why. Your spouse or significant other might very innocently do one of the things I just instructed that you can't do. Let's not take the risk that that person, that your spouse might impart some knowledge to you that he or she had learned from some outside source. I need all of you to be in a position to judge this case based only on what you have heard in this courtroom and no place else. Tomorrow morning, I have a very limited docket. We've tried to keep it light so that we can start this case back pretty quickly. Is there anyone, I'm trying to determine what time I want to get you all back into the jury room tomorrow morning. I want you to report directly to the jury room. Don't come to the courtroom. Mr. Morgan will show you where to report, but go directly to the jury room tomorrow morning. Does anyone, I cheated and told you earlier that I'm lazy. I like to early vote. I don't ever wait until the day of election. But does anyone need to go vote tomorrow morning before they come to court?
Oh, it's
All right.
Super Tuesday
If
tomorrow.
I have you here by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, does that give you all time to go vote before you show up? Great. All right, report directly to the jury room. Be here not later than 10 o'clock. I can't start until I have all 14 of you here. Have a very good evening, and we will see you in the morning. All right.
You can't give me a second chance when I was the one who broke your heart. I give you a second chance. You know, this is what started the problem in the first time. You don't listen. It's always you. What?
I don't know how long she's been on house arrest.
No, I don't know if she's been in there for 5 years. She have had several bond hearings where she wasn't allowed bond. But if she's been in house arrest, I don't know. We're 69 now. Giggity.
Approach the bench one more time before we take up the rest of Trooper Tucker's testimony.
Oh, so he's going to testify without the jury present? That's interesting.
Is he?
Yeah, he said before we take up the rest of the testimony. Ruth, he said report to they should be there by 10 o'clock because all of you remember that it's a Super Tuesday tomorrow. So go out and vote. I can't tell you who to vote for because I don't care. But Mo for president is my choice. Hand jobs for everyone.
Yep.
Maybe a proffer.
Someone contacts you about Robin Howington in that cell phone. Can you tell the judge about that interaction, how you came to be involved with that cell phone?
I had a female citizen approach me I had a male citizen approach me while in the waiting room, and he alerted me to the fact that Ms. Howington had attempted to, in some way, give his wife her cell phone. It was a very brief conversation with him. I wanted to immediately get to Ms. Howington in the women's restroom and try to obtain this phone. There was a little delay because I was just, to be candid, didn't want to barge into the women's restroom. So I tried to get a nurse, and it was kind of like playing the telephone game. Like, I need you to try to find this woman that looks like this and ask her about her phone. So eventually I kind of put half my body in and make eye contact with her. And I believe I said something to the effect of, I need your phone or give me your phone. I was able to obtain her phone after requesting. Yes, sir.
And when you entered the women's restroom, was there anyone there besides Ms. Howington?
Your Honor, I cannot recall if there were others there or not.
Where was she and where were you?
I believe I don't know when I was actually communicating with her. She was like outside of the stall. I can't remember if she emerged from the stall, but she was standing just in the, kind of in front of the sink area when I was communicating with her.
Tell me about the first thing that you remember asking her and the first thing that she responded and said to you.
Your Honor, just due to the time that's passed, all I can remember is I demanded her phone, and she really.
Well, we have to, that's why they have the proffer now, to see if the judge will allow it in. And thank you so much, Fuba, for becoming a member. You will get to be the first on the wall for the day.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Fuba.
Relinquished it in some capacity.
Okay, so she had the phone in her hand. You didn't have to retrieve it from.
I don't believe it was laying on the counter or laying somewhere else. I believe it was in her hand and she handed it to me. But again, the time has passed. I don't want to swear, not 100% on that.
Tell me about the phone's condition when it was handed to you.
I know it was off personally because I know Detective Wardlaw at the time made a comment that it was turned off and it couldn't be turned on. And through rewatching my body camera footage, I made a comment when I was talking to detectives on the radio that it was off. So I know it was in an off condition, not powered on.
All right. And what other conversations, if any, did you have with Ms. Howington about that phone or any other topic?
We did not speak much about the phone. Once I had it in my possession, it more transitioned into waiting on the doctor, and then the doctor came, and then we discovered the condition of the deceased. And
that was all once you were back out in the waiting area, correct?
Correct. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that the time elapsed in the restroom was very minimal,
right?
And the conversation concerning the phone was ideally minimal, or identically minimal. It was just brief.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any questions you want to ask him the jury out?
I just want to ask this, Trooper. Have you reviewed your audio lately?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. And is that conversation, I know the conversation with both the male and the female is picked up on your mic. Is the conversation you have with Ms. Howington in the bathroom picked up on the mic?
I remember I just watched it just before we came in here, just vividly. It was, I said, hey, I need your phone. I can hear myself saying that. And then she makes some sort of just, Y or O, just a quick response. And then I very quickly obtained that phone. So there wasn't much of a conversation.
Okay. So that was the end of the conversation you had with her about the phone.
Essentially, I'm the majority of my conversation concerning the phone is talking to detectives on the radio about it.
And is that discussion captured on your in-car video?
It's pretty clear. Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
All right. Is there anything objectionable about this?
About what he's just testified to, no. I think it was getting ready to go to a different place. There on the recording, there is something at which the woman is explaining why she was offered the phone. And that it had
The woman being Ms. Howington or the witness?
The citizen who's reporting this incident makes a statement which is, I think, not admissible through this witness.
All right. As far as that statement, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll have to address that when, I don't know what the witness's name is when she is prepared to testify, but for this witness, for Trooper Tucker, I don't see anything that's a problem here.
I think he was getting ready to say that, though. That's why it seemed to me that's where that was going.
I mean, we could. What do you anticipate? Trooper, you can step down. Thank you. He's free to go. But be here. You're the witness on the stand, so I need you here Ready to climb back up on the stand, be here by 9:45, and hopefully we're gonna be starting 10:15 or so tomorrow morning. All right, I'll see you in the morning. I can't decide this without hearing her testimony, but can you have her here around 9:30 tomorrow morning?
There's so much done at sea. For a little. Oh, you're a hero. Thank you for a super stick.
Hi, Donna.
Have her here at 9:45. I don't have much of a docket tomorrow, so hopefully I
Yes,
can
the
close
jury's
it
gone.
quickly, and we can address this issue as soon as she gets here. Have any of you given thought to jury instructions on possible lessers? And obviously, I'm not going to make the final decision until we hear all of the evidence in the case, but what is the state seeing as lesser included offenses of the principal count felony murder?
I think at this point, I think certainly reckless homicide and criminal negligence.
I think that's it. Those would be instructed. I don't see how voluntary manslaughter would be instructed. And I guess the real question I have, I don't see how second degree would be instructed either, but I'll listen to further argument on that. Anyway, give it some thought, and we will address that when the time is appropriate.
So they're changing the
Anything else we need
charges?
to take up this evening?
Yeah, let's talk about lesser included.
Anything else, Mr. Whalen? All right, everybody have a good evening. Be back here, ready to go to work not later than 9:30.
Get over and watch him.
Ms. Howington, I need you here not later than 9:30 so that we can take up the out-of-jury issues before we bring the jury back in.
God.
Around 10:15.
Oh, so we're starting at 9:30.
All right. Court will stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Everybody have a good evening.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Oh, because
Didn't
they
you
want
say
to go.
9:30? What?
I heard 9 a.m.
Jury issues. I need you here not later than 9:30 so that we can take up. Anything else, Mr. Whalen? No. All right, everybody have a good evening. Be back here, ready to go to work not later than 9:30 tomorrow morning. Ms. Howington, I need you here not later than 9:30 so that we can take up the out-of-jury issues before we bring the jury back in around 10:15 or so.
So 9:30.
All right. Court will stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Everybody have a good evening.
Well, at least it's not your dog barking because of her dog.
I can't believe you can hear the birds. They're not. I can't even hear them at all.
It goes right through the microphone. It's funny how
Oh.
some sounds just go right through.
Well, you guys better get some of these. I got them at Walmart for like $12 for some sweet microphones, I guess.
Or maybe they have a very special spectre that it's the same. Sometimes I can't hear your voice, but when you're in the kitchen making coffee, it goes straight through.
Yeah, you can hear the birds, but my mouth that's right here, you can't hear my words.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, in the beginning I thought, what the F is squeaking outside my house? So yeah. But this was day one. What did we learn, Jamie? We learned that 2 people arrived at the house. 1 person left the house. 1 person came out of the house, went to the side of the house. That's what we saw in the video.
Wait, did they ever get to the root of that question that the guy asked him? And he said, would you be surprised if it wasn't 2 adults and 2 children that went in the house? Or something like that. What did he say?
Yeah, but he said to him it seemed like 2 adults and 2 kids.
I know, but he said, wouldn't you be surprised? And she said yes. But then they never, like, I don't remember ever. I was like, are you going to tell him it wasn't? I don't know.
Wolfram just started following me on Rumble.
Oh.
I'm getting fancy. Maybe he'll follow me on Instagram too. This is well, it's what we know so far is a 5-year-old girl has a hole in her chest after a pew-pew stick. The mom is charged with felony unaliving, child neglect, trying to hide evidence, attempted to, did hide evidence, and one more thing. The mom first at the 911 call claimed it was a black guy, unknown black guy, just came in, pew-pewed the daughter, went away. Then she changes it up and say it was the girl's father. And apparently her last story is that her 2-year-old son walked into her bedroom, crawled up, got it off a dresser, went in and pew-pewed the daughter. And so far, we have seen videos of people arriving at the house. We haven't heard any gun sounds. We have the first responding officer who said she acted weird. She was just sitting on the phone talking in the sitting on the chair talking on the phone while the kid was laying behind her with a hole in her chest. And then we had an officer who might have, who got her phone off of her after she tried to flush it or give it to someone else, but he wasn't allowed to talk about that today because they had to do a proffer. Exactly, that's what we were saying is, how would you react? And but the officer said I would have suspected she was doing CPR. Why? Because you know CPR, because you are trained to be acting in stressful situations. It was a weird thing to say. But again, it acts. It works real well because we have seen a picture of a 5-year-old girl smiling to the camera 4 or 5 times. So that's a hard one to get past. Trying to trip him up, and one was adult-sized teen. Yeah.
I just have a hard time until they can, I don't know, like, why would she do something like this? So
Have a good night to you too, Golden Girl. Well, again, they don't have to prove motive. They just have to prove she did it. And we always saying, why would she? But just as why wouldn't she do CPR? Why would she do it? You don't have to tell us. Just have to prove she did it.
well, I want a motive. See, I think of things differently.
Yeah, you want it, but you don't need it to find them
No,
guilty.
I don't need it, but in my mind, I'm gonna want something.
Yeah, that's the big problem. Everyone is saying, why? Yeah, some people just sit and pray. Yeah, and some people will just walk out of the house, and 2 hours later wake up somewhere and think, "What the f happened?" We don't know how stress affects anyone.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, and she carried the gun outside and threw it near a bush. When I read the article, she threw it behind or hid it behind a bush. It was laying on the ground. It was pretty easy to find. So again, but his story about she just wanted it to keep it away from the 2-year-old who had used it. You can do that easier than walking it out. So
yeah, a lot of the things that she did leading after it happened don't make sense. Yeah, nothing makes sense right now.
So yeah, it's it's a bad case, but again, we'll try to get through it, try to make it a little more bearable. Jamie will bash her lashes more during this trial than a normal trial.
We might have spider ninjas, Dave.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I actually don't have my Rumble link in my link tree because I forgot it. Yeah, but you can see someone throwing the gun out, but would you do it right after he pew-pewed her, or would you go to your door? To me, it seems weird. I'm not even sure I could make the 911 call.
Well,
Because
yeah, I don't know. Well, on the Ring video, there was a spider web over it, so it was kind of funny. And it made me think of that. Because I said the spider did it.
Yeah. I
Spider
was
ninja.
holding my dad when he got his heart attack, and the only thing I didn't think about going to the hospital or any. I was thinking about I have to call up all of my family and tell them this happened. And a colleague of his I never met before came over and hugged me, and I was just, "Would you please get away before I punch you?" I was really angry that she did it because I needed to go and take care of stuff. I went into, okay, he's not here anymore. I'm gonna move on and don't deal with this right now. I didn't cry till the funeral because I just went into action mode. I had to figure out during COVID how to get my sister to come back from Switzerland, and had to call my daughters, my brothers, and 3 years, 4 years before that, I had done the same when my mom passed. Called everyone and was in charge of that. So I didn't. It didn't really hit me until I remember it was the day before New Year's. I just cracked. At, I woke up and just started crying. That's when my emotional response really kicked in, because
Yeah.
you cry at a funeral, but that day where everything came out, it was that'll be 4 months later. So everyone acts in different ways. Yeah, but apparently, according to the state, the 2-year-old crawled up and got access. So, yeah. It's because it's from the Anthony Burgos trial, who allegedly gave his son an injection in his thigh that they said was a spider bite, and that's why all the ninjas from the what's not Casey Anthony, the crazy woman, the petrol. Letitia Stout. We mixed that up because we have just watched that before this one. So it's the ninja spider that injected him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just watched the video, so that's weird.
Yeah, how can you not see it? It's so annoying.
Best part, I bet the mods can't mod us here. You're right. I didn't think about that one. I don't have any mods over on Rumble.
Oh,
I shouldn't say stuff like that.
Are you supposed to have mods over there?
Yeah, that's the part he has a problem with, not the katana.
Why does it have a needle?
Yeah, they said that the kid dragged the bar stool 2 rooms away, wore high heels to reach the top shelf of her closet to get a gun.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's what
I
they
was
said.
like, what?
I have to make Iris a mod over on Rumble.
You do.
I haven't had a mod Rumble before, so now I have to figure out how to do that. But no, I think the defense did a good job, but was he? Do I believe all of it? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm keeping
Keeping an open mind. We always should keep an open mind.
I mean, yeah, it sounds crazy. But if she really was like a troubled lady on drugs, oh my goodness. What the F? Like, I don't think her reaction to a lot of things was going to be logical. So
No. And we will always see it through the eyes of a rational person sitting behind the screen.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should always keep an open mind.
Well, and now they're talking about lesser included. I mean, because the felony murder is like, I don't know. I could see maybe some kind of reckless.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll probably be the. Yeah, but it seemed like they were talking about that for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. But I'm just hoping that I hope they have good evidence
I do too.
because yeah, she had gun residue on her hands. Yeah, why only her and not her boyfriend? Well, apparently he left just before it happened. So it wasn't the daughter; it was the son, the 2-year-old. Yeah, for felony, you need premeditation.
That's what I mean. That's what I thought. So it's like, I don't know how that makes sense.
No.
Because even from what the state's saying, it does sound like some kind of freak accident.
Yeah. It's hard. No, I don't believe what should I say? I believe that they will have a big problem getting her out of this. But felony, I think they will have lesser included.
Yeah,
I
because he
don't.
said he didn't think involuntary would work, but maybe reckless homicide.
No, not for felony murder. You just need premeditation for another crime. I looked it up. I thought it said you need premeditation. I might be wrong.
Probably.
I'm wrong most
I
times.
don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, it's an interesting case, and we will start up on it again 9:30 tomorrow. So hopefully you'll be back here and follow along with us. And yeah,
No, I don't really know what was. I might have to watch it again because I was like in and out because of work. But did the defense say what really happened? Did they say it was an accident, but did they say what happened?
fighting for a gun, it went off.
So her and the boyfriend? Okay.
Yeah. And because she had PTSD, because she had been raped by police officers before, she didn't say anything, she didn't act. And when she tried to say it at the police station, they started yelling at her.
I mean, is that like something like on record that she is actually raped by a person?
Go back and watch
Or-
it. He claims
Yeah,
it.
I heard him say it, but I mean, is it just something that she said, or was it like she actually like reported this?
I don't know. Nothing has been brought forth so far in trial. I know she has said it, but again, I don't know. I don't have access to her medical or criminal records, so I couldn't tell you. I know it's mentioned in the reports that she claims that she had been, I believe, raped by 3 officers at a time.
Oh God.
But I'm not sure. I just think I read something about it the other day.
Well, I heard him mention it. I just didn't know if it was just like mentioned or if it was something they were gonna show proof of or something like that.
So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, then you're just stupid if you're out on bond and you test positive for MJ.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she doesn't strike me as the fastest moped.
The fastest moped.
Yeah, that means she's slow, Jamie.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I can't even figure out how to set mods up on Rumble. It says do it in the stream panel. I can't find that, but IMJ will behave. But
Yeah, he'll be fine.
that's nice, Gordon. You have the meeting with the state tomorrow at 9 a.m. in a boundary dispute. You are all my. Well, now you said it online, so if it's like the Hills case, a judge will hold it against you if you are not there at 9 a.m. So yeah, but everyone, thank you so much for being here. Jamie, thank you for being here, and I'm gonna just check if he is still live. He is. I'm gonna yeet all of you over to the expert. Tell
You
him.
say yeet everybody over there.
Yeah. Tell the expert cheese doesn't go in baked goods, and cheese danishes are the worst thing since, I don't know, root beer.
Your Honor, I apologize.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. 100, because it is 100% correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
You see the lawyer's face? Okay, we have to go back and they.
Widower case.
Did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
Wait a minute, I need this story time.
Everybody has.
Everybody has.
Everyone has slept with his mother.
If I showed you.
Oh my God.
I'm having a Jamie moment. And the way he just said it, he was just like, everyone had things on YouTube.
Mr. Randolph, do you?
I got that against the man. You don't know.
Called him chicken shit.
That's right, you was chicken shit.